Mentoring is a way to repay all the help you've had through your career. But as with all gifts, it can often repay the giver as much as the receiver. Mentoring is a great way to learn. It compels you to think about the best advice you can give and the best way to give it. Let's have a look at how you can mentor a colleague. I'd say that there are 3 forms of mentoring. However, a good mentoring relationship is likely to blur the boundaries between them and rove across all 3. The first is performance mentoring, and the purpose of this is to help the mentee, the person that you're mentoring, to improve their performance in the work that they're doing. The second is developmental mentoring, and this is about helping the person you're guiding to gain new skills, new knowledge, new understanding, and therefore move their career forward in their chosen direction. Often here, you will be giving the experience of your learning, your knowledge, and your experience. Third is career mentoring, and this is about helping someone to develop their career. And it will often involve a lot of work to help them to understand how to navigate the politics within their organization, within their profession, and among different employers. And in some countries and some organizations, particularly in the US, career mentoring can also sometimes include a measure of career sponsorship. That is, the mentor also acts as a sponsor, not only to guide the individual, but to help ease their way through the organisation and its politics. Indeed, in some cases, a career sponsor might even act as an advocate for the individual, although this is less common in Europe than it is in North America. So, how do you mentor a colleague? David Clutterbuck founded the European Coaching and Mentoring Council. So I think it's a good idea to start with his definition of the 6 roles of a mentor. And conveniently, he's found a way to articulate them using the acronym MENTOR. This articulates the 6 roles of a mentor as managing the relationship, encouraging, nurturing, teaching, offering mutual respect, and responding to the learner's needs. This suggests that your first responsibility is to set up the mentoring relationship. And there are a number of things to consider. You may want to prepare an agenda in advance and maybe discuss a mentoring agreement or even a mentoring contract. This could include a number of things, such as objectives, confidentiality, how often you're going to meet and for how long, and what might be the duration of the initial relationship. What might be the style of the conversation, and are there any boundaries to it? And of course, it might include logistical things like contact details and where you're going to meet. Setting up the relationship is also likely to include some time just to chat, to build up rapport, to get to know one another, to establish the relationship. And you may also want to discuss how you're going to tackle any difficult issues that arise and what you will do if one or the other of you becomes uncomfortable with the conversation. Once you've formed a mentoring relationship, it can evolve, but at any one time, it will be a combination of a number of factors. It could be anything from open to closed. An open relationship can tackle anything, whereas a closed relationship will have tight boundaries around what you will and will not discuss within the mentoring relationship. It may be public or private, that is to say, other people may be aware of the relationship or they may not. And it may be anything from formal, highly structured mentoring conversations to informal, unstructured conversations that can rove anywhere without any seeming direction. Finally, it could be anything from active to passive, where the person who is being mentored, the mentee, may take an active role in determining what they want to discuss, or they may leave it to the mentor to define what the topic of conversation is and to lead the agenda. I think we can base a good model for a mentoring conversation on the experiential learning cycle developed by David Kolb and Roger Fry. You would first ask about what experiences the mentee wants to discuss. These may be things that have happened or things that are going to happen that they want to prepare for. Secondly, you'll ask questions that will help them to reflect on the situation or the events at hand. In this, you need to take care to elicit precise observations. You'll challenge assumptions and make sure that the mentee has a good understanding of the reality of the situation. You'll also be listening to their interpretations. Are they ascribing cause and effect in a way that is fair and supported by the evidence? The third stage is to help them to generalize their experiences and their learning into a new and deeper understanding, and indeed a practical set of ideas that they can apply to the situations that they face in the future. So that, fourth, you can start to ask them how they will apply this understanding to the situation that they wanted to discuss. Help them to find actions they can take that will consolidate their learning and move their performance to a higher level. In conducting a mentoring conversation, I'd say there are 4 main skills that you need to deploy, and therefore, to become a better mentor, you need to hone these 4 skills. The first is rapport building. This is about building the relationship up, making sure that you each feel comfortable with each other at the start of each session. It will become quicker as you become more familiar with one another, but even when you've known one another for a long time, a few words of introduction just to set the scene and settle each other down is going to be very helpful indeed. Second is the ability to ask questions. Start with big general questions that help the person you're mentoring to explore the situation, and then focus and funnel them down to more detailed questions that give them a more precise awareness of the details and the specifics that they're trying to understand. Third is listening. Having asked a question, you need to shut up and listen. And by listening carefully, you'll probably find the next question more easily. And crucially, the fourth skill is to hold a silence. When they've finished speaking, if you can remain silent, that will give them time to think and add additional thoughts. If all of this sounds familiar from our videos and articles on coaching, it should, because there is a fine line between mentoring on the one hand and coaching on the other. In my understanding, coaching focuses less on the experience of the mentor or the coach and more on the experience and understanding and thought processes of the person that you're coaching. Mentoring, on the other hand, is more weighted towards the mentor sharing their own experiences and their own understanding and directly helping the mentee to understand and interpret evidence for themselves. A mentor will be more than willing to share their experience and impart their own wisdom. A coach will always be reticent to do that. David Clutterbuck describes mentoring as when an older, more experienced individual passes down knowledge of how the task is done and how to operate in the commercial world. So a mentor offers their own insights, experience, and knowledge. However, there is a lot of overlap, particularly in the skills you need to mentor or to coach well. Therefore, the distinction is perhaps a little academic. What matters in the real world is you help someone to become better at what they do and better prepared for the situations they're going to face in the future. And for me, the perfect way to do that is to combine mentoring and coaching. Where you put the emphasis in any conversation will depend upon the needs of the individual and the nature of the situation. But without a doubt, if you want to learn, if you want to develop, if you want to lead, then one of the best ways you can do that is to help others to learn and develop through mentoring. Please do give a thumbs up if you like this video. There's loads more great project management content to come, so please do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.